In SPC, there has always been confusion regarding when to use process capability, that is CP, CPK, and process performance, that is PP, PPK indices. In practice, customers also tend to sometimes ask for CP, CPK and sometimes PP, PPK in the same application without considering what is really required based on the situation. Let's see what these indices mean so that we can determine what is really required. Difference between these two indices. The basic difference between these two indices is how the standard deviation is calculated. For process capability, the standard deviation is calculated using the R bar by D2 formula, if X bar R control chart is used. If an IMR, that is XMR, control chart is used, it is calculated using MR bar by D2 formula. And in the case of X bar S control chart, the formula of S bar divided by C4 is used to calculate the standard deviation. This is also called as between subgroup variation. And on the other hand, for process performance, PP, PPK, the standard deviation is calculated using an RMS, that is root mean square, formula. This is also called as total process variation, since it takes into account variation between every individual reading. Let's look at the difference based on the stage where the SPC study is being conducted. The SPC study will need to be conducted at various stages of the product life cycle. It can be done at the time of development, during production trial run, series production, etc., during the initial stages such as development or during production trial run. There won't be many variations, and the main cause of variation would be how the subgrouping is done. Hence, to capture within subgroup variation, CP/CPK would be a better measure, which is calculated as per these formulas depending upon the type of control chart we are using. On the other hand, in series production, that is regular production, capturing the part-to-part variation would be better to get information about actual variation. Hence, in such a case, PP and PPK would be a better measure, which is calculated using RMS formula. There is also a consideration regarding the use of process capability or performance based on the type of study, whether short-term or long-term. If the sample size is up to 100, it is considered a short-term study. And if the sample size is greater than or equal to 100, it is considered as long-term. Based on the short-term, process capability can be measured. As its name indicates, it determines the potential capability of the process in comparison to the specifications. It tells what the process is capable of producing in the long run. On the other hand, process performance is used for the long term, which indicates what the process is actually performing in comparison to specifications. We would need large data in order to understand how the process is actually performing. Hence, sample size of at least 100 is required. Whatever be the case, you'll always face problems such as, few people will keep on suggesting the use of CP, CPK instead of PP, PPK or vice versa. During stages such as production trial run, development samples or production. If the samples are collected and measured in a timely manner or a control chart is used, CP and CPK can be used. If not, consideration of part-to-part variation would be appropriate. Hence, in such a case, the use of PP, PPK would be required. There would be different interpretations or suggestions regarding the number of samples required for short-term and long-term SPC study. So, what is the solution? Whatever be the case, the fact is we can calculate both process capability, CP, CPK, and process performance, PP, PPK, for the same data and leave to the customer what they want to use to prevent any conflict. If the difference between these two indices shows a large difference, it means there is a presence of special causes. Additionally, we can also calculate potential ppm based on these two types of indices, and consider whether it is acceptable. And since we use ppm measure more frequently, it is easier to relate to, and initiate necessary actions. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit bell icon if you like the content.